What's up, YouTube? First time gun owner, what should you buy? What should your first handgun be? I think there's only one answer to this question. I hear it all the time. I hear people talking about it and having their opinions. A lot of people are wrong in the way they address this question. So before we get started, YouTube's coming after our Second Amendment voices. So I think the way we tell them we want these videos is by subscribing, thumbs up, comments, let them know we want to see them and that we like them. That's the only way our voice is going to come across, united, right? So that's out of the way. So let's get started. Okay, first time gun buyer, never owned a handgun before. Going out, you're trying to figure out what you want. I think it's a tough sea to swim through without the experience to kind of know what the right questions to ask or who to believe, because everyone's got their opinion on this one, which is kind of my point here. I think anyone who tells you you got to get this gun or you got to get this brand is I question their motivation in telling you that. So here's how I think about it, how I slice this up into logically making a good choice. There's a certain level of reliability that you should get into. You shouldn't step below that. What I mean is you should choose whatever firearm you choose. It should be at a level that a professional agency could use it or it goes into testing for their adoption, right? So professional use grade firearm is the absolute minimum requirement. You should never go below that. So I think you answer that question by looking around at what agencies are carrying, find all the federal law enforcement agencies, figure out what their issue weapons are or what they allow, what police agencies allow. I think that's a good starting point for your choices. Now, inside of that, for me anyway, I'm a fan of striker fired guns, or can be hammer fired, but I don't like a different trigger pull from the first shot to the last shot. Like if you grab a Beretta 92, model 92 or a model 96, the first trigger pull is double action. So you pull the trigger to the rear and it makes the hammer do this and then fall. After that happens once, the gun goes bang, explosion, and it does that for you. And then the second trigger pull is going to be really short, where all you have to do is you just pull the trigger enough to drop the hammer. Bang, the gun does that. And then it's a short trigger pull again. But on the first trigger pull, it's very much like a revolver, where you pull the trigger and it cycles the hammer all the way back and then bang, and then the action comes back and cocks it for you. So you have a different trigger pull from first and then second all the way to the end of your magazine. They're short except for the first one. I'm not into that on a potentially defensive handgun. Don't like it, never did. So I would recommend that you get something that has a consistent trigger pull from the first all the way to the last shot of the magazine. So that's my number two. First tip, professional grade. Second tip, not an external hammer. Third tip, doesn't matter what you get after that. Don't care if you get a Glock, if you get an M&P, if you get an HK, if you get an FN, doesn't matter. They're all, as long as they're in a professional grade category, who cares what you get? Go and try them all, dry fire them all, whatever feels good in your hand, that's what should, whatever. If you have one in your head that you just want it so bad because of the way it looks and just the idea of it, get it. Who cares? But in that, I think that no matter what you get, you should become a master of it. Owning, I think, a bunch of different firearms could have detriment in that you don't really become a master of the one that you would plan to use defensively. I think that's the main thing, is really becoming good with it and familiar with your gun. Just master it. Glock, M&P, the Smith & Wesson, the SIG 320s. Who cares? Get one that's professional grade and then learn it. Like, there's no, if anybody tells you that you got to get a Glock, they're just, I think that's fucking stupid. I think it's asinine. So, gonna have to start over. Edit that out. Dang. So you just got to master the one that you get. And when I say master it, I mean be so comfortable with it that you can break the trigger without the sight picture moving. So you want to be able to pull the trigger without that sight picture budging. If it goes like that when you pull the trigger, then you got to keep practicing until it's rigid all through the trigger pull, till the trigger's in the back of the trigger guard, all the way back through the brake, and then cycle your action and do it again over and over and over and over until it's so habitual that you don't have to think about breaking that trigger without the sights moving. It should be automatic. And that's when you're going to shoot accurately, when it's habitual. And you can do that over and over and over. Break the trigger without the sights moving. So that's my 2 cents. I've heard so many people say you got to get an M&P or you got to get a Glock. All the feds are using them. If you don't like the way a Glock feels, then you're just not going to want to shoot it and whatever, right? Like, I like Glocks. I personally, that's the majority of what I shoot. That's what I'll carry. But I don't think you should get a Glock unless you want one. Then you should get one. I mean, I know they work. I like the way they feel. They all kind of point the same way. I stick with Glocks because they all share similar characteristics where I'm used to the way they point because there's an angle between the grip and the bore. And if you train a lot and you know that angle, you come up and you point and you're automatically pointing at what you're looking at with a Glock. But then if you practice that a lot and you know that grip angle, you pick up a 1911 and you point, it's going to be a little bit different. So that's kind of why I stick to one to get really good at it and kind of just stay there, because then it's habitual. Like, I look at something and my sights are already locked onto it. Automatic. So that's my philosophy on it. I think you should have others potentially as well. I mean, I practice mainly with Glocks, but I shoot other guns just so I don't become dependent on one set of ergonomics. It kills me when someone says, "Oh, I just don't shoot those well." Well, that's kind of a training deficiency, I think, because good fundamentals should lead to shooting anything well. Good fundamentals means I have a proper grip, I have proper sight alignment, I can break a trigger without the sights moving, boom, right? So it's not a matter of, oh, I don't shoot that one well. It's a matter of, I probably need to practice my fundamentals more. So I think it encourages good fundamentals when you can pick up any gun and do those things with it to a certain degree, right? But I'm a big proponent of having one system mastered, like the whole Bruce Lee philosophy. 10,000 different kicks once, or one kick 10,000 times, which is more scary. The guy who practiced, the one kick 10,000 times, because he's really good at it. So that's my piece of advice. Professional grade gun. I don't like an external hammer, because then you've got typically a different trigger pull from first shot to last shot. I like consistent all the way across. I also don't like an external safety. I forgot to mention that. I don't like external safety on a gun, because if you do have to use the gun in a life-threatening situation, you don't want to take it out and have to think about stuff or be dependent on sweeping that safety off. That's why we train, so it's habitual. So if you train with the same gun, know your safety, Every time you take it out of the holster, as you're coming up, let's say you pull it out, as you're coming up, you sweep the safety off. If that's habitual for you, then good. But I prefer not to have any steps in between. If I have to take a gun out and use it, I want it to come out, I want to yank it from the holster, and I want to pull the trigger. That's it. I don't want to have to do any kind of steps, personally, for a defensive gun. So, professional grade, no external hammer. I don't like an external safety. Some people do, but I don't. And that's really it. Pick one you like after that. Pick one you like and just be a master of it. That's my advice. I would also say, again, if there's one that you just really want because it's cool, you saw in a movie or whatever, get it. Get that one. Because otherwise, if you get forced into a Glock or something else by the guy in the store who's trying to tell you that he thinks you should have this because he has all Glocks or something like that, I think that's a poisonous personality, by the way. I think that's stupid to talk somebody off of a professional grade gun that they want. They should get what they want. Because otherwise, you're just going to end up probably getting the one you want later anyway. And then you got one that you really didn't want from the start. So just get what you want as long as it's within that professional grade category. And you really can't miss after that. Just train with it. Be really good at it. Do a lot of dry fire practice over and over and over. Set your grip in the beginning. Go slow. Set your grip properly. Fill that space right here. Wrap around. Get nice and tight. Go slow in the beginning. Make sure you're empty. Set your grip. Nice slow trigger pull. Break that trigger. Sights don't budge. Cycle. Reestablish your grip. Nice and slow. Same thing. Over and over and over. Until it's habit. Nice and slow. Good form. And then speed comes with good form. Repeated. My thoughts. So, hope I helped somebody. I hope I broke the trend of people who say, you gotta have a Glock because I run Glocks and the feds run Glocks. Don't care, right? Don't care. Pick what you want. Get good at it, as long as it's professional grade. So, thanks for sticking it out to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Hope I helped somebody. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, support Second Amendment, the Voice on YouTube. Again, thanks for watching. Have a nice day.